What if I told you that the smartest woman in the room isn't the one with the highest degree, the fanciest title, or the loudest voice? She's the one who walks in, scans the room in seconds, and knows exactly who's insecure, who's lying, and who's in control. She doesn't chase power. She is the power. Calm, sharp, untouchable. And no, she wasn't born like that. She trained for it. You see, being a smart woman isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. It's about knowing how to think under pressure, how to speak with impact, and how to stand your ground when everything around you is designed to make you shrink. Let me ask you something. How many times have you walked away from a conversation thinking I should have said that? How often have you held back an idea, a boundary, or even a dream because you didn't want to be too much? This isn't about self-help fluff. This is about strategy. It's about learning how to navigate a world that constantly underestimates you and doing it with precision. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 core principles that high-functioning, emotionally intelligent, strategic women live by, whether they're CEOs, agents, entrepreneurs, or everyday warriors. This isn't just inspiration. This is intel. If you're ready to stop asking for permission and start showing up like the force you are born to be, stay with me. Because by the end of this, you won't just feel empowered. You'll be equipped. Let's begin. Imagine you're in a meeting. Tension is high. Someone challenges your idea, not gently, but aggressively. Eyes turn toward you, expecting a reaction. Your heart races, your face starts to warm, and your inner voice is screaming a dozen emotional responses at once. Fight back, shrink down, stay silent. Now imagine this. Instead of reacting, you pause. You assess. You look at the person in front of you and think, what's driving their behavior? You shift the spotlight off your ego and onto the dynamics of the room. You respond not with emotion, but with power. Controlled, focused, intelligent. That is emotional intelligence in action. Emotional intelligence is not about being nice. It's not about being agreeable, soft-spoken, or always choosing peace over conflict. It's the exact opposite. It's the ability to stay calm while others are losing their minds. It's the ability to read the room like a map, identify what's not being said, and use that information to make smart decisions. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you respond. That is your power. Smart women know how to hold their center, no matter what chaos surrounds them. They don't give their emotional triggers away for free. They guard them like currency. Let's break it down. Mastering emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. If you don't know what sets you off, others will figure it out and use it against you. People manipulate what they can predict. If every time someone interrupts you, you visibly shut down, that becomes your weakness, and people, whether consciously or not, will use it. Emotional intelligence is about studying yourself as if you were your own case file. What angers you? What silences you? What makes you over-explain? What makes you want to be liked more than respected? Because here's the truth. When you're emotionally reactive, you're not in control. The person who provoked you is. But a smart woman, she plays chess, not checkers. She doesn't let her emotions get hijacked. She uses them as information. Let's say you're in a conversation and someone's tone is off, dismissive, cold, maybe even insulting. Emotional reactivity would look like snapping back or retreating into silence. Emotional intelligence would look like recognizing that their behavior says more about them than it does about you. You pause, you assess what's their motive. Are they feeling threatened? Are they testing me? Once you understand the why behind behavior, you stop taking things personally and start responding tactically.
Another key element?
Reading other people. Most communication is nonverbal. Tone, eye movement, facial expressions, micro-reactions. Smart women pay attention to the subtleties. They listen not just to what is being said, but how it's said. Someone may say, I'm fine, but their body is rigid. Their eyes flick to the side. Their voice is clipped. A smart woman catches that incongruence. She doesn't ignore it. She stores it as data. You walk into a room and notice who sits where, who dominates the conversation, who looks down when someone speaks, who interrupts, who gets interrupted. That's intel. The woman who knows how to read those cues doesn't just survive the room. She owns it. Let's talk empathy, not the feel sorry for everyone kind. We're not talking about emotional martyrdom. We're talking about strategic empathy, the kind that allows you to understand someone else's motivations and use that knowledge effectively. When you understand what people care about, you know how to frame your words, you know what to emphasize, you know when to push and when to pull back. Empathy, when used with intention, is a negotiation tool. It's an influence skill. It's power. But empathy without boundaries is manipulation, waiting to happen. Smart women know how to listen without absorbing. They know how to connect without being controlled. They stay emotionally open but strategically guarded. You can be warm without being naive. You can be understanding without being a doormat. Here's a hard truth. Most people won't tell you. If you don't train your emotional responses, someone else will train them for you. Society will train you to be agreeable. Your workplace will train you to avoid conflict. Your past will try to train you to expect disappointment. But you get to choose your programming. You get to choose whether you're a reactor or a responder, whether you're someone who breaks under pressure or sharpens in it. Developing emotional intelligence is not a one-time achievement. It's daily. It's when your partner says something that cuts deep, and instead of snapping back, you ask, why did that land so hard for me? It's when your coworker takes credit for your work and you take a breath before responding, collecting your facts instead of exploding. It's when your confidence is tested, and instead of shrinking, you sit up taller because you know exactly who you are and what you bring. Mastering emotional intelligence means becoming emotionally fluent in yourself and in others. It's the difference between surviving life and commanding it. So when someone says she's so calm, what they're really saying is she's in control. And when they say she's intimidating, what they're really saying is she doesn't hand over her emotions for free. That's not by accident, that's by training. And that training starts with one decision: to no longer let the world decide how you feel, but to teach yourself how to respond with clarity, with strength, and with strategy. That's what makes you a smart woman. Not how loud you are, but how emotionally fluent you've become. Confidence is not magic. It's not something you're born with or without. It's not reserved for the loudest person in the room or the one with the most achievements, the perfect body, or the smoothest speech. Real confidence, unshakable, grounded, immovable confidence, is something you build, you earn it, brick by brick. And the moment you stop waiting for someone else to give it to you, you step into the kind of power that can't be taken away. Let's start with the hard truth. Most women have been taught to second guess themselves, to shrink when they should rise, to doubt their gut and defer to someone more qualified. From the time we're young, many of us are trained to prioritize being liked over being respected, to be accommodating instead of assertive, to speak softly, smile often, and never make anyone uncomfortable, even if that means staying uncomfortable ourselves. And that conditioning doesn't just disappear. It shows up every time you hesitate to speak in a meeting, even though you know you have the right idea. It shows up when you say sorry before making a valid point. It shows up when you dim your light to make someone else feel better about theirs. Here's what unshakable confidence really looks like. It's not arrogance. It's not being the loudest. It's not pretending to know everything. It's quiet, steady, grounded. It's the ability to walk into a room without needing to prove anything because you already know your value. You've done the work. You've built the skills. You've failed, learned, and gotten better. You've trained your mind to hold itself together even when everything around you is trying to break it apart. Confidence is born from competence. Not perfection, competence. When you repeatedly show up, when you study, when you fail and try again, when you build your abilities until they're not up for debate, confidence becomes the side effect. Think of it like a muscle. You don't get stronger by wishing. You get stronger by lifting. And lifting again and again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Most people think they need to feel confident before they act, but that's backwards. Action comes first. Confidence follows. You don't wait to feel brave to speak up. You speak up while you're scared. And each time you do, the fear shrinks and your confidence grows. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness is a myth. Courage is the truth. Let me tell you something most people don't say out loud. You will be judged. People will underestimate you. Someone out there will think you're too bold, too cold, too much. And that's not your problem to solve. A smart woman understands that confidence isn't about being liked by everyone. It's about being respected by the right people. And more importantly, respected by yourself. Every time you abandon your voice to please someone, your confidence takes a hit. But every time you speak with truth, even if it shakes a little, you reinforce that you can trust yourself. That's where unshakable confidence comes from. Trust. Trust that your instincts are sharp, that you can handle discomfort, that you don't need to perform or pretend to be worthy. Let's talk about failure. Most people fear it, but smart women use it. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding mistakes. It comes from moving through them and realizing they didn't destroy you. Every setback, every rejection, every public stumble is a training ground. The woman who fails and comes back stronger is 10 times more dangerous than the one who's never been tested. You have to stop interpreting failure as proof that you're not good enough. Failure is feedback. That's all. It's information. It's a signpost, not a verdict. When you can look at your failures without shame, analyze them, learn from them, adjust and move, you become untouchable because nothing can rattle you. You've been through it and you came out smarter. Body language matters too. You may not always feel confident, but your posture can trick your brain into stepping up. Shoulders back, chin up, make eye contact, speak from your chest, not your throat. Occupy space like you belong there because you do. Your physiology affects your psychology. You don't need to feel 100% sure to look like you are. And the funny thing is, when you start moving that way, eventually your mind catches up. Another piece of this puzzle is identity. Who do you think you are? Not who they say you are. Not who your past says you are, but who do you believe yourself to be? If you see yourself as small, unworthy, or invisible, your actions will reflect that. Confidence starts with deciding, this is who I am now. This is how I show up. And then reinforcing that identity with your habits, your standards, your words, and your boundaries. And boundaries, those are crucial. Confident women have boundaries. They know their time is valuable. They know their energy is not free. They don't say yes when they mean no. And they don't explain themselves just to make others comfortable. Setting a boundary might make people uncomfortable, but letting people walk all over you will make you miserable. Choose discomfort now or resentment later. You don't become confident by accident. You become confident by showing up to your life with intention, by choosing discomfort over safety, by backing yourself even when no one else does, especially then. Unshakable confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about acting with the fear. It's about stepping forward even when your hands are shaking. It's about trusting that even if you fall, you'll get back up. Smarter, tougher, and even more certain of your strength. The most dangerous woman in any room is the one who doesn't need to prove her worth because she's already proved it to herself. Be that woman. Train for it. Build her. One decision, one action, one brave moment at a time. Because once you learn to trust yourself, truly trust yourself, no one can ever take that away. Powerful communication is not about talking more. It's about saying the right thing at the right time and knowing exactly why you're saying it. Smart women don't speak to fill space. They speak to make impact. Every word is intentional. Every silence strategic. They understand that how you say something matters just as much as what you say, sometimes even more. Strategic communication starts before you open your mouth. It begins with awareness. Who's in the room? What do they care about? What's the power dynamic? What are the unspoken agendas? A smart woman doesn't rush to be heard. She listens first, she watches, she assesses, because once you understand the terrain, you can navigate it with precision. One of the biggest misconceptions about communication is that it's all about self-expression. It's not. It's about connection and influence. If you want to get your message across, you need to know your audience. You need to adjust your delivery to meet them where they are, not to people please, but to be effective. A strong communicator knows how to shift tone, language, and energy without losing her authenticity. That's not being fake. That's being tactical. Think of your voice as a tool. Your tone can de-escalate a conflict or escalate it in seconds. Your phrasing can open someone's mind or shut it down completely. Your delivery can make you sound certain, or it can expose uncertainty. Even if your message is strong, smart women practice control over how they sound. They speak with clarity. They cut out filler words that weaken their message. Just sorry, maybe, kind of. These words are confidence killers. You don't kind of believe in your idea. You believe in it. You don't just want to say something. You say it. Removing verbal apologies from your everyday language is not arrogance, it's ownership. Negotiation is one of the highest forms of communication, and smart women never walk into a negotiation unprepared. They don't wing it. They research. They know their value. They understand what they bring to the table, and they're not afraid to ask for what they deserve. They know that no is not personal. It's a starting point, and they're not afraid of silence. In fact, they use silence as a tool. Most people are uncomfortable with silence and rush to fill it, often giving away more than they intended. A smart woman lets the silence do some of the talking. She holds her ground. She understands that tension can be productive. Being strategic means knowing that communication is not always verbal. It's your body language, your facial expressions, your eye contact. When you walk into a room, your posture speaks before you do. Are you standing tall or are you shrinking? Are you claiming space or are you apologizing for taking up any at all? Your presence communicates volumes. People decide whether to take you seriously within seconds, not based on your resume, but on your energy. Strategic women know how to carry themselves like they belong, because they do. Another element of strong communication is boundary setting. Most women are taught to be agreeable, to say yes when they want to say no, to avoid conflict, smooth things over, keep the peace. But peace without honesty is not peace, it's quiet resentment. Smart women understand that no is a complete sentence. You don't owe long explanations for your decisions. You don't need to soften every boundary with a smile. You can be firm and kind at the same time. Strategic communication also means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. There is strength in restraint. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every insult needs a response. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to say nothing and let someone else's words reveal more about them than you ever could. Smart women don't engage in every battle. They conserve their energy for the ones that matter. Let's talk about confrontation. It scares a lot of people, especially women who've been conditioned to avoid it. But confrontation doesn't have to be hostile. It can be respectful, direct, and effective. A woman who communicates strategically doesn't shy away from difficult conversations. She prepares, she stays calm, she separates fact from emotion, and leads with clarity. She doesn't make it personal, she makes it purposeful. Emotion, when used skillfully, can be a strength in communication, but when emotions control you, they weaken your impact. Strategic communicators know how to regulate their emotional expression. That doesn't mean suppressing how you feel. It means choosing when and how to show it. Emotional control builds credibility. It shows others that you're grounded, not reactive. It earns respect. Influence is the end goal of all strategic communication. You don't communicate just to be understood. You communicate to shape thought, drive action, and change outcomes. That requires planning. You don't walk into important conversations blind. You anticipate objections. You practice your delivery. You choose your words like a surgeon chooses a scalpel, with care, with intention, and with a clear goal in mind. Here's the truth. If you can master communication, you can change your life. You can negotiate your salary. You can set boundaries in your relationships. You can walk into any room and shift the dynamic without raising your voice. You can speak in a way that people feel, and when people feel your words, they don't forget them. Communication is not just about saying what's on your mind. It's about saying it in a way that moves the room, holds your power, and commands the moment. You don't need to be the loudest to be heard. You need to be the most intentional, the most prepared, the most grounded. That's what makes your voice unforgettable. That's what makes you unshakable. And once you master that, no conversation, no negotiation, no room will ever intimidate you again. Life does not care about your plans. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready, motivated, or comfortable. It will test you It will break your heart, knock you down, and push you to your limits. And in those moments, the question isn't, why is this happening to me? The real question is, what am I going to do about it? Resilience isn't just the ability to bounce back. It's the ability to stand your ground when everything inside you wants to give up. It's what allows you to keep moving forward when logic says you should stop. Mental toughness isn't being cold or emotionless. It's being able to feel pain without being ruled by it. It's having the strength to face discomfort, fear, rejection, and failure and stay in the fight anyway. Smart women know that resilience is a decision before it's a feeling. You don't always feel strong. You choose to act strong over and over until the choice becomes your nature. Every woman who has achieved something significant has been through something brutal. That's not a coincidence. That's cause and effect. Pain is the price of growth. The question is not whether hardship will come, it's whether you'll let it shape you or break you. Mental toughness starts when you stop expecting life to be easy, when you stop needing things to go your way in order to show up fully. Most people fold the minute things get hard, but a resilient woman, she gets sharper in the storm. When other people panic, she gets focused. When others quit, she adapts. That mindset doesn't happen by accident. You train for it. You train by choosing the hard thing on purpose. You get up early when you don't want to. You finish the workout even when your muscles are screaming. You have the hard conversation you've been avoiding. You speak up even when your voice shakes. Every time you do something uncomfortable, you're training your mind to tolerate pressure, to operate under stress, to be unmoved by discomfort. That's what toughness is. Stress tolerance. It's the ability to perform when your body is tired, your emotions are high, and nothing is going according to plan. And the only way to build that is by putting yourself through it, one rep at a time. The world will not hand you strength. You have to earn it. A big part of resilience is emotional regulation. When things go wrong, and they will, you can't fall apart every time. You can feel deeply and still act wisely. That's the difference. Resilient women learn to pause, to breathe, to detach for a moment, and analyze the situation instead of reacting emotionally. That pause, that's your power. That's where clarity lives. And then comes the hard part, taking action. Even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, hurt, or scared. Mental toughness is showing up when you don't feel like it. It's the discipline to honor your commitments. Even when motivation disappears, motivation is fleeting. Discipline is sustainable. Resilient women don't wait for perfect conditions. They start where they are, with what they have, and they figure it out. They don't make excuses. They make adjustments. They ask better questions. What's the next right step? What can I control right now? What does pushing forward look like today? These are the questions that pull you out of paralysis and into movement. And let's be clear, toughness doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means being brutally honest with yourself and still choosing to rise. It means saying, this is hard, this hurts, but I'm not done. There's no courage in denial. There's courage in continuing, even with tears in your eyes and a storm in your chest. So one thing resilient women master is reframing. They don't see failure as a wall. They see it as a mirror, showing them what needs work. They don't see rejection as a personal attack. They see it as redirection. They use every setback as a data point. And because of that, they grow fast. They recover quicker. They take the hit and they come back stronger. Not because they're superhuman, but because they've decided that no hit will be the one that ends them. Resilience is also about protecting your energy. It's knowing what drains you and having the courage to walk away from it. You cannot be mentally tough if you're constantly surrounded by chaos, toxicity, and emotional vampires. Resilient women are ruthless about who gets access to their time, their mind, and their heart. Not because they're cold, because they understand that survival requires boundaries. Toughness is quiet. It's not performative. It's not about proving to others that you're strong. It's about proving to yourself in the dark, when no one's watching, when the applause is gone and the only voice left is the one inside your head. And even that voice, you train it. You make it work for you. You don't let it become your enemy. You make it your ally. Because here's the truth, the most dangerous woman isn't the one who's never been hurt. It's the one who has and came back anyway. The one who's been through hell and instead of staying bitter, got sharper, smarter, and more focused. That woman knows her strength. She doesn't collapse under pressure. She uses it. So if you want to become her, start by getting uncomfortable. On purpose. Train your mind like you train your body with intensity, consistency, and respect. Put yourself in situations that require grit. Hold your own when things don't go as planned. Stay grounded in chaos. Stay calm in confrontation. Stay clear in uncertainty. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you choose. And you choose it every day when things are easy and especially when they're not. Because in the end, toughness isn't about how hard you can hit. It's about how many times you can get hit and still move forward. That's real strength. That's resilience. And that's what makes you unstoppable. A smart woman doesn't live her life on autopilot. She doesn't wait to see how things go. She doesn't drift. She decides. She moves with purpose. And behind that purpose is a plan, not just a wish list or a dream board, but a tactical life plan built on strategy, clarity, and action. Because if you don't design your life, someone else will design it for you. And that blueprint probably won't have your best interests in mind. Every powerful woman you admire has a system, not just ambition, structure, not just desire, direction. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's engineered, built on principles, executed through action, refined by failure, and grounded in something deeper than impulse discipline. This plan begins with self-awareness. You can't build a powerful life if you don't know who you are. What are your values? What triggers you? What energizes you? What patterns are you repeating that no longer serve you? Self-awareness is not indulgent. It's tactical, because when you know your own wiring, you stop being reactive. You stop getting blindsided by your own habits. You start choosing responses instead of repeating behaviors. You know your emotional baseline, and when something knocks you off of it, you know how to recover. Next is emotional mastery. That's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about regulating them. When you can control your emotional responses, you become dangerous in the best way. You stay calm when others lose their grip. You don't let fear make your decisions. You don't let anger speak for you. Emotions are not your enemy. Undisciplined emotions are. Tactical women know when to lean into emotion and when to pull back. They don't avoid feeling. They just don't let feelings run the show. The third principle is tactical communication. Smart women know how to speak to be understood, not just to be heard. They use words like precision tools, measured, clear, and effective. They don't ramble. They don't apologize for taking up space. They say what needs to be said and then stop talking. They understand timing. They know the power of silence. And when it's time to advocate for themselves, they don't flinch. They don't beg. They don't over-explain. They simply state what is true and stand in it. Then comes boundary setting. You cannot live a high-performance life if you are constantly saying yes to low-level demands. Boundaries protect your time, energy, and focus. They are not about being cold or selfish. They are about being intentional. A woman with strong boundaries sends a message. I know what I'm here to do. And I won't allow chaos, insecurity, or guilt to derail it. She's not afraid to disappoint people. She's more afraid of disappointing herself. And when she says no, it's final, not a negotiation. The fifth principle is resilience, training. Life will test you. The plan will get disrupted. Your confidence will be challenged. You will face rejection, loss, failure, betrayal, all of it. A tactical woman builds her resilience before the storm hits. She trains her body, her mind, her nervous system. She puts herself in discomfort on purpose, so she knows how to navigate it when it's involuntary. She doesn't seek ease. She seeks capacity. Every hard thing she does on purpose expands her range for what she can handle. When life gets brutal, now we talk about strategic relationships. Who's in your circle matters. Smart women curate their environments with precision. They surround themselves with people who sharpen them, not drain them. They don't keep relationships out of obligation or fear. They understand that loyalty is earned, not owed, and they're not afraid to walk away from people who no longer align with their mission. You become like the people you spend time with. So if you want to live at a higher standard, your circle must reflect that standard. Choose wisely, because nothing derails a smart woman faster than emotional entanglement with the wrong people. And finally, legacy and purpose-driven living. This is the anchor, the reason behind it all. Because tactical living isn't just about achieving goals. It's about living in alignment with what matters most. It's about impact, contribution. It's about asking, what am I building here? What will I leave behind when I'm gone? When you're clear on your purpose, you stop wasting time on petty drama. You stop chasing validation. You stop living small. You build something with depth, meaning, longevity. These 7 principles aren't abstract ideas. They are daily practices. Tactical women don't wait for motivation. They build systems. They audit their life regularly. They ask themselves hard questions. They are willing to be uncomfortable, to confront their weaknesses, and to rise again and again. Every day is an opportunity to align your actions with your principles, to speak with intention, to hold the line, to grow your capacity, to protect your peace, to sharpen your mind, to build something that cannot be shaken by fear, failure, or someone else's opinion. This is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming prepared. Because when life comes at you, and it will, you won't panic, you won't fold, you won't run. You look it in the eye and say, I trained for this. And that's what separates a life you survive from a life you command. Everything you want, the respect, the freedom, the power, the peace, it doesn't come from wishing, waiting, or hoping someone else will hand it to you. It comes from becoming the kind of woman who decides, who trains, who builds herself with purpose, not for applause, not for validation, but because she knows she's responsible for her own evolution. Becoming a smart woman isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing yourself and never betraying that knowledge. It's about moving through the world with strategy, strength, and self-respect. It's about speaking with purpose, setting boundaries without guilt, and leading your life like the mission it is. You don't owe the world softness. You owe it substance. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be relentless. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be ready. Ready to train harder, think sharper, speak bolder, and walk with a presence that says, I don't need permission. I know who I am. This world doesn't just need more women. It needs more smart women, emotionally intelligent, mentally tough, strategically dangerous, and radically self-led. Decide to become her. Not someday. Now.